Hey, this is World Advice Channel 2. What I want to talk about today is the problem with Lady Boule. Now, for anyone who's unfamiliar with Lady Boule, she is a black YouTuber who is a FBA, a Foundational Black American. And what I want to talk about is the problem with her when it comes to her ideology that she puts out there. So now that I mentioned that, let's get started. So when it comes to the problem with Lady Boule, who is, you can clearly tell is African American for that matter. What exactly is the problem with Lady Boule? Well, the problem with Lady Boule simply comes down to the fact that Lady Boule is, when it comes to her commentary, says things from a biased perspective, okay? A biased perspective, and even straight up a bit discriminatory perspective, okay, if anything, okay? Because the problem with Lady Boule is a problem that a lot of I have personally noticed a lot of African Americans have, in all honesty, which I would not, of course, of course, it should not be something you should say publicly out there. And I'm not saying the majority of African Americans are like, but a lot of African Americans have, which is this whole way of thinking that everybody's out to get them. They are always the victim instead of actually taking accountability for the people at least who are causing problems in their community when it comes to how they treat people of other communities. Okay, that is the problem with Lady Boule. Okay, now I just want to make it clear before I go into further detail that I'm a left-wing person. I'm a left-wing person of Black Canadian, who's Black Canadian, who is not only Black Canadian, but of course specifically is of Black Caribbean descent. So don't think that this is going to be some silly conservative, uh, more like Black conservative commentary. This is simply something that's speaking the truth about this woman. Okay. So the truth about Lady Boule is that Lady Boule, simply put it, back to what I was saying before, is saying things from a biased perspective. Now, let me go into the exact reason why, okay? Besides, this is going to be unbiased bullshit, so you don't have to worry about, me, of course, being some black conservative or something who just hates African Americans or any of that shit. I'm just going to speak it from a more logical and rational perspective, okay? And now that I've gotten that out of the way, let me explain it further detail. Okay? Because the truth of the matter is, when it comes to Lady Boule, is that Lady Boule speaks from an African American perspective, okay? A purely African American perspective, okay? Instead of taking consideration the fact that a lot of African Americans, to be quite real with you and honest with you, are actually well known for starting shit with people, okay? And this is what I've actually heard a lot of people say, which a lot of people don't really like to say because they don't want to be considered someone that they're not. But I've heard a lot of stories of people, especially people in rough neighborhoods and stuff, discussing how they were mistreated by African Americans. Now, some of the stories, let's be honest, are kind of a bit shady and a bit sketchy, at least overall when it comes to the complaints those people have for that matter. But one group that I have noticed has made a lot of complaints about against them specifically are actually Latinos, specifically them. Okay, and I'm not saying the majority of black people do this stuff, but some of them do this stuff, which is just this whole way of just kind of bothering and bullying people and saying racist shit to people of other races, which obviously there's a higher percentage of Latinos in black neighborhoods than any other community of people. So specifically, they do that to them. They bother a lot of Latinos and tell them things like, yo, you're a legal alien, you should go back to Mexico and this and that and blah, 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 blah. For that matter, when all of them are not clearly from Mexico sometimes. But anyway, they just assume that you're from Mexico. And the moment and not only they start shit, and bully people, and specifically, of course, in this case, bother people, but they say racist shit. Okay, they start shit with people. Okay, because even though, of course, common sense would indicate, well, there's going to be bad apples in every group of people who are bullies. There's a difference between someone who's just a regular bully versus someone who is a racist ass bully who just bothers people and puts people down, because of their race or what they belong to. And I heard a lot of black people in the hood have been known for doing this stuff and kind of causing problems, which is actually why a lot of groups like Latin Kings and even some Latino street gangs became as racist as they became, like MS-13, which is kind of weird because actually when you listen to music and stuff that those people make and consume, you'll realize there's clearly a black influence. So how can you listen to something that clearly has a black influence, like rap music, or more like for that matter, was invented by black people, yet you still hate them? It's kind of a weird thing I have noticed, but I think a lot of that is actually caused by the fact that a lot of black people are just start shit with people, okay? And that's the truth of the matter when it comes to our communities, that we're gonna have to start taking more accountability for that small percentage that start shit. Because even up here in Canada, I heard a lot of stories about black people, at least the ignorant ones, not the overall black community, but the ignorant ones, just starting shit with people for no reason. And it's more than just starting shit with people of other races. It's also the way how they treat other black people and other diasporas. Like I remember in the past, I used to hear that they used to bully Jamaicans and other black demographics. Especially being a black person of Caribbean descent who lives in Canada, they used to always make fun of black Canadians all the time. I remember I used to read comments about black Canadian rap music videos, and they used to make fun of us all the time, saying things that were just really out of place. Of course, let's be honest, it's the modern world. Everyone kind of makes fun of each other, but there's a difference between making fun of each other versus going over the top, like saying like things like, "Do black Canadians even really actually black?" and all this type of stuff, as well as making fun of black people in the UK all the fucking time. And I've heard some really horrible freaking things about it. And I'm just like, where the hell is this coming from? Like, what do black Canadians even do to bother African Americans? And especially, let's not even get started with this group, okay? And I'm going to get it real now because I know shit's going to get real. I'm going to be 100% honest with you, especially with what I heard used to happen. And yes, it's better now, but I remember this used to be really bad, is how they used to treat black Haitians in specifically Florida. I used to hear they treated them horribly. They used to make fun of them. They used to beat them up. Used to call them all sorts of things. I used to give them a hard time to the point as a full-blown discrimination. And anyone who from Florida, especially someone who's been there for decades, let's keep it real. You know, and I know, African Americans used to give them a very, 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 very hard time. Okay? So that's the point I'm trying to get across here. These are all these things done by African Americans themselves, as well as how they treat African people, which is, oh God, let's not even get into that. And I'm talking about black people directly from Africa, the jokes and stuff they make about them. So that's a problem I have, okay, with this Lady Boule way of thinking, is that they always want to make themselves, at least that's portion of the black community, always want to make themselves a victim. But what about all the things you and your other people were doing to other groups of people? You know, what about all the times you guys used to bully Jamaican people? They in the 1970s and the 1980s, I used to hear they used to beat up Jamaicans all the time, and bother them a lot of time. Even a famous rapper known as Biggie uh, used to be bullied because he was of Jamaican descent. Before he, of course, was accepted and they stopped doing that shit. But that's what they used to do. So where exactly are you getting this information from? That specifically when it comes to this FBA hatred specifically for black people and other black demographics to be more exact, where exactly are you getting this information from that it's always you guys at fault? Because sometimes African Americans on the real though, I ain't going front though, you guys really start shit, okay? And I'm not saying the majority of African Americans, but a lot of them do start shit with people for no friggin' reason. And it's more than just jokes, it gets to the point it's even just straight up violence. So that's the point I'm trying to get across, okay, is that it's no such thing as a one-way streak for anything. Humans in general, regardless of race, are too dumb, you know, for that matter, or more specifically, we have too many dumb people for every race, for any group of people to be the perfect victim. There's always usually someone in that group, that small, in any group, that starts shit. And that's the thing I'm trying to get across here. So that's the problem I have with Lady Boule, is that it's always this and that. It's always it's African Americans that are victim, instead of realizing sometimes it's just actually the African Americans specifically, some of them at least, start shit. And that's what I'm trying to say. If we want obviously things to be better for us as a whole, as a community, for African Americans at least, believing in this specific situation, you guys are gonna have to stop doing this shit. And if you know people who do this shit, you're gonna have to start calling them out on this crap. This has been going on for years, and this is one of the reasons why so many people hate African Americans so passionately. And that's what they haven't done. It's everyone else's to blame. It's never possibly us. Just like a parent whose son is a bully, it's always everyone else to blame, for every conflict my son has with them, and never sometimes it's my son himself who's actually starting the shit. It's always everyone else, never me. That's what you get what I'm saying? And that's what African Americans need to do. Besides, the end of the day, I love the African American community. Most of the music I listen to is based off of African American music. But on the real though, if we want things to improve, we are going to have to confront them about this. As a black community as a whole, at least. Because a lot of them do this shit and it needs to stop. And anyway, that's my video. I hope you enjoyed it. Just remember, if you like this video and videos like this, remember to thumbs this up and subscribe. And that's all to say. And some people, I'm out. Bye.